But what I was also going to say about the whole solitary thing was, for me, I think what happens at home is I know I have whatever I have, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. The best case scenario is I have a whole day. And I feel that I need to get something done and I don't want to be distracted. But I just found, I was shocked my first time, that when you sit down on a Friday night and you have 72 hours, when all you have to do is write, eat when you're hungry, but people bring you food, and sleep if you feel like it, that is a heck of a lot of time. And you can't write for that whole time. Well, there are maybe a couple of very strange
some
people who somehow manage
Craig
to.
can, and Pat Llewellyn.
That's right. But most of us mere mortals can't actually write for 72 hours straight. And so I found, I wrote on the Friday night from maybe 8 to midnight, and then I slept for a little while. And then
did you sleep on premises, or did
no?
You go home?
I went home, but then
some people
I was
sleep
so
there.
excited that I came back at about 4 o'clock in the morning because my brain was still going.
That's what happened with me too.
Some people
and
do.
It's not. You can get let in at 4 in the morning. Like the building is in effect. Like it's not open. We have it locked, and you're going to have to call a certain number to get let in. But you can get in if you're a member, if you're a novelist, right? 24/7. So there's always somebody there. Mm-hmm. Like at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, there will still be somebody there.
And whenever you feel the need to take a break, there's always someone else out of 30 people who's also ready to take a break. And then you have these fascinating people to talk to. Or if you're having a problem with a character who won't do what you want them to do, you can you can say, what do you do when your characters are rebelling, and
let them do what they want. That's what I think.
Yeah,
so you're sharing, and you also, I would think, watching other writers and their styles, and you may be thinking, that's interesting. I kind of like the look of how they handle it this way or that way.
Well,
so perhaps there's a learning curve for yourself too.
There's a bit of an etiquette against peeking over somebody's shoulder. Right, like
I wouldn't be doing that. But I was
but
just
if
thinking,
you're in conversation,
yes,
when people
so you
talk
do this,
about
so
it.
you do that, and whatever. What can I say? Anyway, we're going to take a very short commercial break, and we'll be right back with Kay on the Bay talking about the Muskoka Novel Marathon. Welcome back to Kay on the Bay, and we're having a lovely discussion about our Muskoka Novel Marathon, which starts at 8 o'clock sharp tonight at the Club 55. Club 55 is right beside the Algonquin Theatre, so I really don't think you can miss it. I think we should just touch base. Let's go back a little bit in time, which I usually like to do. How did it start?
Well, this is our 11th year. So back at the beginning, Martin Avery, who people might know, he's the author of 75 books now, I think. He cranks them out. He's kind of a Zen master, healer, writer kind of guy.
Yes.
And a great guy, a former high school teacher.
He's a character.
He sure is. He's
wonderful.
So he and Mel Malton, who is also a local writer, she moved to Halifax recently, but she's published, I don't know how many novels at this point, 2 or 3,
or 4 or 5, plus some books of poetry.
Yeah.
Yes.
The two of them, I don't know where they got the idea. I know there was the original novel marathon. The first ever was in Vancouver, so I guess that's where they got the idea. And they joined together.
I remember Mel came to talk to the Huntsville Festival of the Arts with this idea of a novel marathon, and you'd set it up and you'd stay there all night and you'd write, et cetera, and we're thinking, whoa, but Mel was so passionate about what she and Martin wanted to do that we said absolutely yes, we would be involved. So
oh yeah, it's a great idea.
So that first year,
so it was Mel and Martin and Christina Kilbourne, I believe, the first year. And the venue was where? Do you know where?
And also Cheryl Cooper that year wrote From Home. And then after that, they changed the rules and said that you have to write on site. So there were officially 4 of them involved that year.
Yes. I don't know if there was too many rules the first time around. It was just something so very new and very different.
Right.
And,
but then, they decided that if you're going to be in the novel marathon, it makes sense that you should be writing on the site with everyone.
I would sort of think so.
They decided.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then from there it grew and grew and grew. We now have, for this year, we have, is it 29
or so?
Approximately 29 writers.
And is it too late if you're listening right now to Kay on the Bay, and you said, "I'd really love to try that." What would they do about it?
Well, Okay, go ahead.
Officially, we do have 3 spaces left, and we'll be at Club 55 setting up this afternoon. They would need to pay a $50 registration fee. Now, the fundraising part, we want to make sure someone doesn't just, pay their $50 and then take advantage of this fantastic event and not do any fundraising at all. So I would hope that the person would start maybe calling around right now, calling friends and family and getting some pledges. They can get a pledge form from our website, www.muskokanovelmarathon.com. But yeah, I mean, we have had people in the past who, I don't know about the day of, but certainly the day before, decided that they were going to be involved. So it's not unheard of.
And Karen, it's going to be very exciting for you having your son with you.
It is indeed.
Have you written before together?
No.
So
no, not really. I mean, we're not writing
together.
together.
Will be a wonderful experience.
Well, okay. You're asking if we've written together. We have never done anything collaborative, but we have sat together and written.
All right.
Now I have to explain. Rafi has autism. Okay, he was diagnosed with autism at age 3, and he's now 13. And so words have traditionally not been his strong point. If you hear him talk, you'll see he's not age appropriate. However, he's always been exceedingly creative. He's always been interested in music, interested in art. And just this past few months, starting around the beginning of the year, he's gotten into writing. And he's writing this book. It's actually words and pictures. It's a Wild West adventure. It's called The Legend of Sheriff Frog. And he's been working on it for months, and he'll go at it for, quite a few hours a day. I've seen him go as long as 13 hours a day.
Wow.
So I was thinking about, okay, how am I going to set up childcare for Rafi, et cetera, for this year's novel marathon? And I thought, wait a minute, he could be in it, right? So I asked him, I said, Rafi, do you think you could do 3 days solid of your work, no movies, only short breaks? And he goes, yeah.
It's fantastic.
And so I asked his teacher, I wanted to double check, in case he and I are both biased, right? And so I asked his teacher at Riverside whether he thought that Rafi could do it. And he said, yeah, I think he could. So I signed him up. And so we'll see how it goes.
Well, and this is something that I just love about the marathon is anyone can be involved. We have, Karen's 13-year-old son. We have an 83-year-old man. Everyone in between. We have people who have never written anything before and
who really want to jump in 2
try.
feet first.
There are people who have been published multiple times. And so really there's a place for everyone. Everyone's welcome, and it's just a great place to...
Is there the support there too? I mean, say this is I suddenly decided to come and write.
You're in a community of writers.
Yeah.
So, but would that be interrupting people by saying, could you... Or you wait for the breaks, maybe when you're outside and have a quick chat?
Well, it depends on what you're interrupting for. Okay. I mean, often you'll hear something like someone's in one of the rooms, or they're talking to the people around them, saying, "Does anyone know how to spell such and such?" And someone will come back with it. But if it's getting into a deeper conversation, then you kind of you go off.
Yes. But also somehow it really seems to me, I don't know, there's a natural ebb and flow, and people. I don't know. People
know
do
how to
interact, and it all works out well. And we had a woman last year who had never written anything before, and she didn't come in with an outline. She just thought, maybe she had a general, very vague idea. And she just thought, how hard can it be to write a novel? So she sat down, and in her first hour or two, she started writing, and then she thought, this is awful, and I don't know what I'm doing. And
I know what I'd tell her. I would tell her, keep right on going.
Well, but it was interesting because she heard from about 5 different people, 5 different pieces of advice about what they would do if they were in that situation, and then she picked the one that worked for her, and she spent the next day outlining her novel. Basically, she had markers and a big piece of paper, and she sat at this big table, actually in our socializing area, not in the writing kind of area, and she figured out what she was going to do, and then she spent the last sort of day and a half actually writing it. And she said it was the most incredible experience because she not only realized what's involved in writing a novel, but she had, professional writers or experienced writers advising her, and she was able to figure out what her process was and then start writing something she was really enjoying.
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
No,
you don't.
So you've spent 3 days writing. What happens after that?
Fall over.
Before you leave, obviously there's an award presentation.
Yes and no. Some of it depends on which award we're talking about.
Okay,
right?
so just describe some of the awards visually as well, because they're special.
Okay. Well, first of all, there is the Best Novel Award, which is now into 3 categories. It used to only be 1 category, but we've divided it into 3: adult, young adult, and juvenile.
Okay.
And what does the trophy look like?
Actually, no. For the best novel, they don't get a trophy.
Muskoka chair.
They get a Muskoka chair with a plaque on it saying that they won.
And their manuscript gets to go directly to the editor, not through the slush pile, but to the editor, the decision-making editor at one of 2 publishers who we got to agree to do this.
So
which is what Lobster Press and
Cormorant Press.
Yeah.
But those are not presented until September because
the judges have to do the manuscripts go to the judges.
Yes.
The manuscripts go to the judges. They have all summer to think about it, decide. We have a feedback form so they can go through and look at this aspect and that aspect and do a point system, and then we'll have a wrap up party in September in which those awards are awarded.